Why don't you walk in my shoes for a minute? Come ride with me, ride on with me down this lane. Why don't you walk in my shoes for a minute? Come ride with me, ride on with me down this lane.
Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio was actually great. It was 10 of us growing up, and when I say 10 of us, it was my brother and my sister, and then my 7 cousins. I was the youngest out of the 10, and we just had a lot of fun. When I was 8 years old, I was actually diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, which is a blood cancer. As a kid, you don't really think about dying or anything like that, even though the doctors had told my parents that I had a 60% chance to die. I would get tired real easily, lose my hair, lose a lot of weight, miss a lot of school because of my treatments. So that was difficult. After I beat the cancer, it was just like growing up like any other kid. We went through middle school and high school and, enjoyed school. My mother and I have worked close my entire life. Everything that she did, I tried to learn from. When I went away for college is when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. That was tough. Everything she was going through, she always had a positive mind. She never withered one bit. She pretty much acted like she didn't have the cancer. She would go to her treatments and things like that, but it was always a positive mind, like, we're gonna get through this. It's not even a doubt. God's got everything under control, so there'll be no worries on my part. So if there's no worries on my part, there'll be no worries on your part. So I thought that was pretty amazing. When I went through cancer the second time, it was right after I graduated from college. At the age of 24, back in 2004, I was diagnosed with leukemia, which was type of leukemia was AML, and it was difficult. And then on top of that, I felt like I had my whole life ahead of me. Fresh out of college, my mind frame was just about making money and enjoying life. I was young. I didn't feel sick. I thought I was done with doctors and nurses, and then here we go again. Just hearing that you have a 100% chance to die is not an easy thing to swallow. I was blessed enough to have a doctor who was in the forefront of umbilical cord transplants. Obviously, we weren't going to just sit there and die. So we tried the trial treatment, which was the umbilical cord transplant. And I had my transplant on November 17th at 12 noon of 2004. When my brother Damon passed away, that was, to this day, probably the most difficult part of my life. When my mother passed away, I kind of saw it coming. I was with her every day. I saw her health deteriorating, so I kind of knew something wasn't going to go right. With my brother, I had just talked to him. I was actually in New York City at the time. He was texting me and calling me about different things that's going on in the sports world, and I couldn't answer my phone. I didn't have any juice. So I listened to the messages and thought, I'll just call him tomorrow, no big thing. And my aunt called me around 4 or 5 in the morning saying, leaving a message on my phone saying you need to call me right away. And when I called her back, she told me that my brother Damon had been shot and killed. That was definitely the toughest part of my life, just because obviously I just talked to him, but on top of that, he died just getting off of work. And the reason that he was actually working that job was for me, because when I was in the hospital for 6 months straight, I couldn't pay any of my bills. So my brother actually took a second job, a night job, to help me out financially with my bills. So it was actually his last day at that job. And he was just putting his material up, and he was coming out of this alleyway, and people were just randomly shooting. And shot 7 times, and the 7th bullet hit my brother in the chest and went through his lung and out of the back and killed him. That was a dark, dark time for me. I'm not an angry person, but I was very angry, and I was scared of myself. I was very blessed to have, obviously, my family again and my friends really kind of surround me with love and make sure that, I understood, listen, you got to start doing some things different. And I took a month off and really just prayed and just kind of was one with God almost. I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of just getting all those emotions out of me. And, after everything settled, I kind of understood and realized that God wants me to start turning these negative things into a positive. So that's what I did. The third bout with cancer, which was colon cancer, was difficult to swallow. The most difficult part of realizing I have to go through it is I have to drag my new wife through the battlefield with me. The thing that I was blessed with was just to have a positive person that's gonna fight with me through it all. As soon as we heard the news, she looked at me and she said, "Let's beat another one." And I think that really touched my heart. So I started the Kennedy Mumford Cancer Foundation because everything I went through. So when I started in 2007, I had just beaten AML leukemia cancer, and my mom had just passed away. The reason why I started it is because I figured he didn't allow me to beat these cancers just to do a regular 9 to 5 and be miserable like a lot of my friends. I wanted to do something that meant something. So I wanted to do something dealing with the cancer community and try to help the cancer patients and the cancer patients' families on a lot of things that they're going through. So we put together a program where we give financial assistance in non-medical emergency situations to cancer patients. We put that program together because when I was in the hospital, I couldn't pay my bills. So I was blessed enough to have my brother handle that for me. But a lot of cancer patients aren't. A couple more programs that we have, one called Caring Cares, which is a pampering day for women with cancer. It's a program we put together because my mother, when she was going through cancer, she didn't feel beautiful anymore. So we want to put together at least one day strictly for women who's going through cancer to make them feel beautiful and make them understand that this day is just all about them. Anything they want, they can get. Another program we have is called Healthy Spaces, where we go to cancer patients' home and redesign 2 rooms of theirs. So it'll almost be like their sanctuary again, or sanctuary, or just a place where they can get away from going through cancer. So we provide pretty much everything for them. So we partner with a college called Virginia Marty College of Art and Design in Cleveland, Ohio, and we go into the cancer patient's home and redesign both rooms that we're going to pick. So we rip up carpet, we paint walls, all new furniture, appliances, and just make it special for that cancer patient. So that's another one of our programs. And one of our last major programs is a toy/gift giveaway for children that's going through cancer in the inpatient ward of the cancer hospital. And then also we provide gifts for the adults during the holiday season. I understand personally that when you're going through cancer and you're inpatient, you don't really get to enjoy the holiday season, especially if you're feeling sick and not feeling well. So we partner with different sports teams, and we go to the hospital and we go room to room and pass out toys, hang out with the kids, just have a really good time. So I think I'm not bitter by going through all that I've been through because I know how amazing and awesome God is. I know what He's done for me in my life and my family, and it's really no way I can be bitter. What He did for me in particular is just kind of mind-blowing.
Why don't you walk in my shoes for a minute? Come around.